that almost half the purchases that happen in India, it happens not because you need it, but because of the peer pressure. Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So today's video is going to be extremely personal. I'm going to discuss how my wife and I plan our lives and how did we grow from middle class to becoming millionaires over time. Very quick set of disclaimers. Number one, I hope that you take this video in the right spirit. I hope that it does not come out as a video where I'm trying to boast that, hey, I have built like a good life. So that is not the goal at all. The goal of the video is fairly simple. I will speak about 7 key habits that my wife and I have picked over time that has allowed us to gain financial independence and also time independence. Second key point, my wife is very shy, so she's not coming on camera as of now, but some of the points I have incorporated from her and I'll be speaking out on this video. Third key point, this is our outlook towards our lives. Many a points you might agree with, many a points you might not agree with, but our hope is that through this video, even if you learn one point and implement half a point, hopefully that would add value to your life. Also a very quick shout out to our sponsors for today, which is Jupiter. It's a neobank, it's a fintech app. It allows you to track, save and invest better. It has several features around goal-based investing, financial planning and other things that you require on day-to-day basis to organize your financial life. I have personally used the app. It's a wonderful app. I highly recommend it. Do check the links in the description box. I'm certain that you would love the app. So the first habit that we have developed as a couple is that we live well below our means. Now, what do I mean by that? So I often get a question that, Akshat, should I be buying a house? Should I be buying an iPhone? Should I be buying a new Ferrari? Etc. etc. The answer there is fairly simple, that if you can afford it sensibly, the important word is sensibly. If you can afford it sensibly, then yes, please go ahead and buy it. There is absolutely no problem with it. There are two specific, very useful rules that I would like to outline here in terms of judging the affordability and utility of that product. So the rule number one is that if you're trying to buy anything, just ask yourself that if you can buy it twice. For example, if you're considering buying a new iPhone which costs 1.5 lakh rupees, just ask yourself that, hey, how stressed I will be if I have to buy this phone 2 times. If you're stressed spending 3 lakh rupees, then that phone is not for you. That is the simple basic point. At this stage, you should be focused on improving your earning potential rather than going and spending your money on certain assets, gadgets, which you cannot afford. That is the simple point, that if you can't afford an item twice, please don't go and buy it in majority of the cases. Now you might ask me that there are certain items which I absolutely need it and these are utility oriented items for me. For example, I'm currently not making a lot of money, but my family absolutely needs a car. So should I discard that also? The answer is no. That is a utility based case scenario. So any item that you're trying to buy, just bifurcate into need versus want. For example, if you absolutely need a car, it's okay to buy that car even on an EMI. But you must be sensible in terms of bifurcating your needs from wants. Don't tag everything as a need and start buying it unnecessarily. Let me give you my own example. So the camera that I'm shooting from, it's an iPhone 11 and I've shot all my YouTube videos using this camera. Was the phone expensive? Yes, it was slightly expensive. It was 66,000, but it was an investment for me. I needed that product in order to create my YouTube videos because I can only carry like mobile things with me in order to shoot videos. So it was a need for me. It was aiding in my profession. On the flip side, the personal phone that I use, it's Honor X. You can see it, and I have been using it for the last several years. It has caused no issues for me and I can do wonderful things with it. For example, I can just throw it like this, right? So it will not break, and that's the fun part of it. So the bottom line is that you must have a basic financial acumen to understand the difference between need and wants. A related point here is that many a times all of you comment that, Akshat, what are you going to do with all the money if you're not going to spend it? So the idea is not as if that we don't spend money. We spend money quite a lot. There are things on which we splurge. For example, every single year we take multiple international vacations and we have been doing it since the time I was 26, 27. But the point is that whenever we traveled internationally in the past, I did not used to make insane amount of money. I used to make okayish money. So we used to stay at okay, decent places. Now when we take trips, we stay at slightly better places. That's the only change that has happened. I was not splurging and wasting money then, and I'm not splurging and wasting money now. So that's the bottom line, that spending money sensibly is the first key thing that you must understand. The second key habit that we have developed is thinking independently. Now, in a country like India, what ends up happening is that cultivating an independent thought process is a really complicated thing because we give into peer pressure. If my colleague is buying a bigger house, then guess what? I'll have to also go and buy a bigger house. If my friend is buying a new car, then guess what? I have to buy the same car or even a better or a bigger car. Now, this same argument can be made for everything, that almost half the purchases that happen in India, it happens not because you need it, but because of the peer pressure. Now, as long as you are earning a lot and taking these peer pressure purchases only up to a certain extent, it's okay. It's not a big deal. deal. But in India, what ends up happening is that many people start spending on items that they can't afford to spend due to peer pressure. A classic case in point is something like buying a house. I have seen friends, I have seen people who purchase house, who keep on paying EMI and they are not getting possession of their house in major metros, and it becomes a problem for them. And when I ask them that, okay, why did you purchase this house in the first place? Because everyone was telling me, everyone was buying houses around me, and I only felt that, hey, I'm the only person who is not buying a house. So I gave in and I purchased a house. So that's a peer pressure thing. So how is it that you can avoid these peer pressure purchases? So let me speak about my wife and I story. Very, very simple. So for example, like many of you, even our parents asked us many a times that, hey, you guys are making okay money. Why don't you go and purchase a house? I said no. I kept on explaining them the math and eventually they got it. Now, why was it that I was able to say no convincingly? Only you would have an answer to that. So in our case, we want to build something called as an asset light life. What is an asset light life? So asset light life simply means that you are not investing a lot of money in terms of collecting possessions, be it furniture, be it house, be it a ton of different things. We don't do it because we value freedom in terms of moving around very, very easily, living across different parts of the world, living in cities where the weather is good. So that is the goal with which we are operating at least for the next 15 years. So therefore, if we end up collecting a lot of item in our houses and if we go away for some vacation and if some chori happens at the back end, it becomes a problem. But if a chore enters our house, he will not find much. So the bottom line being that if you want to be free, then you need to be asset light. Otherwise, you will keep on spending a lot of time, effort, energy in terms of just maintaining the assets that you have purchased. On another fun note, if you are asset light, then you can go around living in wonderful places all across the world. So this was my villa in Bali when I took the last trip. On a slightly more futuristic perspective, we are also cognizant of the fact we'll have to homeschool Zain, our son. So basically to homeschool, the way we are planning it is very simple, and probably if there is enough interest, I'll make a separate video on that. But one of the key strategies that we are trying to execute is that we would want to travel around with Zain quite a lot. It's a fun way of learning about different cultures, experiences, and a bunch of other different learnings that comes with it. So that is the life that we want to build. We have already started directing our efforts to that end. Now comes our third habit, that we keep majority of our money liquid. So let me very quickly explain the difference between liquid and illiquid money. So liquid money means that if there is an emergency, you can easily liquidate those assets. These could be stocks, these could be FDs, these could be your savings bank account deposits, emergency funds, all these liquid things that actually come in handy when there is an emergency situation. On the flip side, there are illiquid investments. For example, a house is pretty much illiquid because if you have any major need of money, you might have to undertake distressed sale of your house. So that is an illiquid asset. We mostly keep our money in liquid assets. So I truly feel that majority of the youngsters should keep their money in liquid assets simply because of the fact that it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of moving money around whenever the opportunity presents itself. In my case, I make a lot of investments in startups. So if I get an opportunity to make a very good investment in some startup, then I need some liquid money in place. Now, how might this apply to you even if you're not looking to make some investments in startups? Number one, you must have some kind of emergency fund ready at least 6 to 7 months of your income. This will help you float through troubled times. Additionally, this is the most important point here, that your actions should create liquid money. What do I mean by that? For example, a lot of people take pride in taking EMIs. That is an action that you are taking to create illiquid wealth. For example, when you buy a phone on EMI, are you creating liquid money? The answer is no. You are buying an asset and your money is getting tied into it month on month basis. Your actions are creating illiquid assets that are depreciating in nature. This is probably the worst form of investment from that particular perspective. So when I say and when I recommend that please don't buy things on EMI, it's not a healthy habit. This is what I meant, that it's very important for young people to keep their money liquid and more importantly, take actions that do not generate illiquid wealth for you. EMI is a classic case. The less EMI you have, the better it is for you. Now comes the fourth habit, that we also want to enjoy our life. So we earmark a budget of 10% as expense rule. So whatever money we make in a year, right now, this is a very fresh goal for us. We will be spending 10% of that money on some fun things. Our plan this year is to go and live in Europe for a little while. Unfortunately, due to COVID, our plans have already been cancelled a couple of times. Hopefully this time we will be able to travel and I will continue to make videos. Don't worry about that. But the bottom line is that we also need to enjoy life. So our life enjoyment rule is that 10% of the money expense, spend on whatever things you feel like spending on. So this is me eating 13 plates of sushi in one single go. So how was I able to do it, and do I eat quite a lot? Yes, I do eat quite a lot. In fact, fun fact, at one point in time when I was slightly younger, I wanted to become a competitive eater. So I still watch a lot of competitive eating videos from people like Matt Stoney, and I still take inspiration from them. Now comes rule number 5, that never do impulse purchases on high ticket items. For example, many a times people go see a house, they love it, and they book the house immediately. That's a high ticket expense that you are buying it on an impulse. Now, the definition of high ticket expense will depend on individual circumstances, but you would understand what high ticket item is for you. So please don't go and purchase that high ticket item no matter how much you love it on an impulse. So that's a very important point, because many a times we don't analyze all the aspects of buying a very high ticket item. We just end up purchasing it and then we regret later. This happens with cars. This happens in expensive dresses. This happens in expensive watches. This happens in houses. This happens in a bunch of different things that you would know what I'm speaking about. So very simple rule, that if you feel that an item is a high ticket item, please go sleep it over, at least wait for a week, wait for a month, and then still, if you need it, if you feel like buying that watch, buying that car, go back next month and buy it. It sounds super simple, but just having the ability or patience to just wait for things will give you a lot more clarity whether you truly need it or not. And this is especially true when it comes to high ticket items. Number 6, we have come up with our own definition of good debt versus bad debt, and we execute that very pointedly. Now, a overall general definition of good debt and bad debt I have explained on my channel several times, so I'll quickly recap it. A good debt is something that allows you to increase your income potential. So that is what a good debt is. For example, education loan. It allows you to amplify your skill or get more brand on your CV and probably increase your earning potential. So that's a good debt. Similarly, if you are taking a business loan, then probably it allows you to make money in the long term. So probably it's a good debt. On the flip side, bad debt would mean that you have purchased an item that is depreciating in nature and it is not allowing you to make money. Again, an example could be an iPhone, that for example, I'm making YouTube videos out of it. So for example, if I'm purchasing an iPhone, and even if I have to purchase an iPhone on debt, on EMI, it might be okay if I'm using it to make money subsequently, because it's increasing my earning potential. On the flip side, if you are a student and if you have no particular use for iPhone and if you have just purchased it for the heck of it, then that EMI would be considered as a bad debt. So in my wife and my case, we do not take any debt. So that's a financial decision that we have made. We understand that this might not work out for a lot of people. Many a times you truly need debt and it's completely okay to take it. But in our case, we have deliberately made a choice initially in our careers that okay, we are going to take a little bit of debt for items that we truly need, which would truly help us improve our earning potential. But over time, we have gotten to a stage where we don't need to take a debt. Therefore, we are avoiding any form of debt, so to say. Now comes point number 7, and this is something that we were doing up until last year, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to do it, that we invest 90% of the money that we make. Now you might wonder that Akshat, how are you able to invest 90% of the money that you make? Are you just saying it for the point of boasting? The answer is no. We truly do invest 90% of the money that we make. We invest it in a series of stocks, cryptocurrencies, and a bunch of other different assets. Now, how did we get to that stage? That's a discussion for another day, but let me very quickly recap our thought process there. So number 1, when we started out in our careers, it's not as if that we were investing 90% of that money right from day one. No, that was not at all the case. Number 2, we got to this 90% investing game when our earning potential became really high. Both my wife and I spend a lot of time upskilling ourselves, learning new things. Even now, I enjoy studying for 8 to 10 hours a day, and genuinely I want to craft my career in a direction where I get to learn something new every single day. So that learning component is very big for me and my wife. We both enjoy reading books, traveling, and doing a bunch of other different activities that allow us to learn more about the world. A related point here is that we have gotten to this stage by controlling our lifestyle inflation. For example, we still live on rent, we still spend money very frugally, we still spend money quite frugally, and we have a clear sense on what to spend our money on. So that is the simple thought process that we follow. Now, many of you might be asking me that, hey Akshat, your parents must be very rich, or your wife's parents must be very rich. So the answer is no. Actually, just to tell you a little bit about my parents. So my mom used to work with Punjab National Bank. She was a cashier. My dad retired from United India Insurance Company as a branch manager. So same goes for my wife's parents as well. Were we lucky? Absolutely. We were very lucky. We are fortunate. Even from a finance point of view, we consider ourselves to be blessed. But the point that I want to tell you is that both my wife and I have spent numerous years just upskilling ourselves, adding new skills to our arsenal, going and experimenting with new ideas and creating a bunch of different things that has allowed us to become financially free over time. Yes, our parents supported, but it's not as if that we were sons or daughters of millionaires and billionaires. So that was not the case at all. And I hope that through this video, you will be able to incorporate some of the habits that I've talked about and in the process create a more fulfilling life. Now, before I let you go, one final but the most important piece of today's video is that my wife and I are approaching life with the objective of controlling our time, not necessarily just creating more wealth. It's very, very important for us to have control over our time so that we can choose to spend our time on things that we care about. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do check the links in the description box for Jupiter. It can allow you to kickstart your financial planning journey. And I will see you tomorrow. Do press the like button and share it with your friends.